Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question asks if I can address the Jenna Marbles apology video. Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this content, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I'll put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. So Jenna Marbles' real name is Jenna Mourey. At the time that I'm making this video, she is 33 years old. Jenna Marbles is the stage name that she uses. She is a YouTube content creator. Her channel has over 20 million subscribers and has been viewed over 1.6 billion times. That's billion with the B, as in the word baffling. Now, she recently set a number of her videos to private, so her total views were actually much higher than that, about 2 billion higher. I'll get to that situation with the videos being set to private in a moment. Now, according to Social Blade, this website that tracks social media statistics, her channel is ranked 160 in terms of subscribers. Just to put that in perspective, there are over 30 million YouTube channels, so her channel is substantial. I watched several of her videos, which is typically what I do when I'm trying to understand the general theme of a channel. I was left with the impression that her channel is generally about makeup, her hair, her dogs, maybe a little bit of cooking, and some arts and crafts. I believe this is a fair representation based on the actual content, but also when looking at her top videos. For example, her top 3 videos: how to trick people into thinking you're good looking, drunk makeup tutorial, and I hate being a grown-up. So with this in mind, I don't think it really comes as much of a surprise that this is not my type of channel, but I can understand how some people would like it. The internet is a big place. There's something for everybody. So we see that Jenna published this video on June 25, 2020, where she apologizes for a number of things, but mostly she focuses on these 3 videos she had released some time ago. People had brought them to her attention because of racist content, and we see the one video had sexist content, although it doesn't seem like too many people complained about that one. My understanding is that those videos were released in 2011, and she set them to private at some point. I remember she mentioned specifically she set one to private some time ago. I'm not sure about the other 2. She also said that she set a number of other videos to private as well, which is consistent with her dropping 2 billion views. So I feel as though I could be missing part of the theme of her channel because there's no access to those videos. One can presume any videos that are now private would not necessarily be considered wholesome by a wide audience. So back to her apology video. This video runs for about 11 minutes, during which she expresses a number of different sentiments. She says that she is sorry. This came through many times in the video. She was not trying to hurt anyone or upset anyone, and she didn't want to offend anyone. She says she doesn't always know the difference between right and wrong. I don't think she meant this as it would be related to the definition of legal insanity, but rather her judgment wasn't always perfect. She said she wanted to make sure that she's putting content into the world that would not be hurting anyone. Toward the end of the video, she states her intention to move on from her channel for now, not necessarily forever, but she leaves that idea of a permanent departure as a possibility. It's interesting, she said she just can't exist on this channel. So she took kind of an unexpected existential tone there. So this move is really her way of holding herself accountable. I find this quite interesting. There's really no debate around the nature of those videos. Clearly, they were offensive, and she made no effort to deny that they were offensive. I think the debate really comes in around what should people do about it. If a popular social influencer has done bad things in the past, what is the penalty? How does one atone for the past? I think most everybody can agree an apology was in order, and she did provide that. I felt it was sincere for the most part. I sensed a little bit of irritation on her part, like she was irritated that times were changing and she had trouble keeping up. But again, overall, she seemed authentic. I have spoken before about the 3 essential qualities of an apology: ownership, remorse, and a discussion about what was learned so that the problem could be prevented in the future. She covered all of those bases in this video. If I were to rate this apology among the dozens I've seen, I would actually have to put this in the top 3. I think she showed a degree of maturity that I did not expect given the nature of some of her videos. So did Jenna really need to walk away from her channel? Or I think more to the point, what does that do? Is that the demand of the viewers, or is she imposing a penalty on herself that is far too harsh? Even though I think she is authentic here in this video, if this was a strategy, it would actually be quite effective for her. She stays away from her channel for 6 months, 10 months, maybe a year, whatever it would be. Then she returns having completed her self-imposed sentence. Now, some believe that she is trying to play the victim by doing this, like she was forced off of her channel. This is an interesting theory, but it's hard to know what's going on based on the information available. My concern with this move, whether it was strategic or not, is that all of the restorative value is in Jenna's absence. So she just left the discussion in order to pay for bad acts. I wonder if it would be better to apologize, take steps to make sure it doesn't happen again, and then move forward directly. Something else that occurs to me, she made videos that offended people. Aside from the moral implications, that strategy, making those types of videos, is no longer viable for social media platforms. I sense this is kind of like the automobile replacing the horse and carriage. People who made carriages had to adapt. Times had changed. But a technological advance isn't the only dimension that changes over time. Awareness of key social, racial, and moral issues change over time as well, and they require that people adapt. My last point here is around how people look at controversial issues. Much of the time what we see is what's referred to as dichotomous thinking, all or nothing. If something is not one thing, it must be the other thing, and there can only be two things total. If a person is not good, they must be bad. If we compare this to rational thought, we see that quite a gap exists here. Scientists tend to think in shades of gray. Now, that type of thinking isn't always exciting, it's never dramatic, but it is logical and reasonable, two properties that have been eradicated from our society. The popular way of thinking now essentially says that if you're not pushing your foot all the way down on the accelerator, you need to be slamming on the brake. Not a good strategy for controlling maintenance costs, and not a good strategy for getting the most positive change in society. It's like if the legal system only had two categories, innocent or guilty of first-degree murder. That may be expedient, but its shortcomings become evident quickly. Society has taken the knee-jerk reaction to an exponentially unsupportable position. When making mistakes fails to be part of a learning process, learning stops. Growth stops. Solutions for problems are no longer developed. Everyone, including those who do things that are offensive, need an opportunity at redemption and deserve logical consideration. The limits of emotional reactivity are evident quickly, whereas the value of reason pays dividends over the long run. So those are my thoughts on the Jenna Marbles apology video. Please put any opinions or thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be interesting. Thanks for watching.